So, Pacific Rim and Pacific Rim Uprising. I'm going to start this off right now, and actually, I was a bit boisterous. I'll start again. I have already done a review of Pacific Rim 1, and I love that film. It's the closest version to Evangelion that we'll ever get, short of if they ever decide to release 3.0 plus 1.0 in 2020. Bearing in mind I've waited almost a decade for this whole damn thing to finish. The general gist of it is the world is being attacked by giant monsters called kaiju, and we're screwed. The whole planet is being knackered, and we've built robots that need to be piloted by two people to go and run to basically defend us, and there's only 4 of them left, and we've got very little chance of actually winning, but we do, because we just do. Then that was it. Now, I was under the impression that it had made a lot of money, I won't deny that, especially in places like China and Japan, from what I've read. But I feel Pacific Rim is one of those films that they didn't need to make the sequel. It was just completely unnecessary. But they did, and it's Pacific Rim Uprising, starring John Boyega and no one else. No one else worth mentioning, really. Apart from... No, actually, I'll rephrase that. There are 3 characters from the original. You've got Marco Mori, who dies, and he's got barely any screen time. You've got Newt Geyser... Lots of guys. Yeah, Newt and Herman, who are the scientists from the first film. Now, the second film is alright. I'm not going to lie. The first one is infinitely better. And there are a lot of reasons why I feel this is the way. Now, if you think of any other ones, then feel free to write them down below. But I would like to say that if you're going to get really angry with me over this, I would prefer that you didn't write it in there, because, well, we don't need that kind of negativity in our lives. Now, the reason... Right, the story is about 10 years on from the first one, and everything's kind of being rebuilt, etc., etc. And the kaiju masters are called precursors, have suddenly just come back, and kaiju appear at the end, etc. And they're like, wait a minute, there's no rupture, there's no breach, I should say. How can this be happening, etc. Then there's a Jaeger that's coming around and just basically trying... One Jaeger, I might add, that is coming around and mucking things up. And there's about 4... no, there's loads of... This is the thing that doesn't make sense. Actually, no, sorry, I'll come back to that. Then they find out that there's a traitor, and there's a big fight, and then 3 kaiju come through a new breach. Then they get merged into one giant kaiju called the Mega Kaiju. Originality has gone out the window by that point. And they manage to fight it, and they do eventually kill it, and the traitor gets locked away, and that's it. Now, this is where I'm going to compare the 2 films and why the second one sucks and the first one is brilliant. So, the first film, you care about the characters. The fights are always done as I've noticed, at night. If anything's broken, it's really, it's patchwork put back together at best. And the other thing as well, and this is the big thing, is that the Jaegers cost so much to build, and parts are so difficult to come by, that's why there's only a few left. And that's why they're building this thing called the Wall of Life around the whole Pacific area. And everything is really knackered. Like, water's hard to come by. There are people who pray to kaiju, and it's like a religious thing. And in the second one, it's just like, everything's nice and clean and bright, and they don't need the Jaegers anymore. Yet they're building them. And this is one thing that I think a lot of people forget, is the fact that in the beginning of the film, John Boyega's character is the son of Idris Elba. His name's Jake Pentecost. And he was originally a ranger, and then he just had enough or something, and he just left. And the first sort of 10 minutes of the film are backlog explanation of the first one, and then him kind of trying to survive when he had everything he needed in the first place. It's kind of like, oh, what's the point in this? If you're hearing noise in a minute, it's because I'm running an antivirus thing on my computer, and it will tell me it's finished. So he basically steals Jaeger parts and sells them, and on this particular sort of scrap mission, the part he's after has been taken already by a young girl who's building her own Jaeger. Now, bearing in mind these things are incredibly difficult to build, yet she manages to build this thing without any trouble. He gets picked up, and he follows the girl back and finds out that she's actually building her own Jaeger, which only needs one person to pilot because of its size. Now, I was under the impression, and I'm pretty certain everyone else was as well, that regardless of size, Jaegers always required 2 people because of the neural load, but apparently that's all been thrown out the window. They get picked up by, for one better word, like a police Jaeger, and he gets given a choice: either become a ranger again or go to prison. And then this is where it's already gone downhill by this point. And the thing that annoys me is the fact that, like I said, everything is clean and tidy. They don't need Jaegers, yet they're still building them. They're building all these drones that we have now. Fair enough, I can understand that, but they're building all these other ones that don't need to be built and everything. And then suddenly they're like, well, hang on, what's this happening? All the fights are always done during the day. It's always nice and bright. That's another thing that really irks me. And there are 4 Jaegers at the beginning of the film that end up going to fight the Mega Kaiju. And they're like, oh my god, there's no Jaegers left. Except for the police one at the very beginning of the film, which suddenly just disappears. And it's kind of like, it's not destroyed or mentioned anything else. And like, no Jaegers left, except for that one, that could just have come in and helped. You couldn't give a toss about any of the characters, if I'm brutally honest. And it's just like, well, yeah, okay, these 2 were partners.
Scan has been completed.
There you go. So these 2 were ranger partners, and then something happened which you don't really care about. Jake hates the fact that his dad has put so much hype on him to be whatever, and he can't live up to it, and he's just, ugh. And then the special effects aren't that great, and neither is Gypsy Avenger, which is obviously the second version of Gypsy Danger. Don't get me wrong, it looks okay, but some of the weapons on it are just really piss poor. Like, one of them is the plasma cannon from the first one, and the sword, which is still brilliant weapons. But then they've got one that's like a plasma tether. Now, plasma is ionized gas, superheated ionized gas, which only can be fired. Yet they use this to make, for want of a better word, like a grappling tether sort of idea. And it's kind of like, oh, really? And again, everything is still slightly screwed, and one gets its arm ripped off, one gets its head destroyed, blah blah blah, and then they just rebuild it within a few hours, and it's just kind of like, no. I know you probably got the parts for it, But these look brand new once they've been really badly damaged, and you think, no, this wouldn't happen. And it's just, it's piss poor. And I've read that they want to make a series out of this. Now, the series could be better if it's set before the original film. That could be really good. But if it's not, and they go straight to a third film, I won't be watching it. It would have to be a, stupidly brilliant cast and everything, and a reason for it. But I just can't see any reason for it any further. And even the end, when Gypsy Danger and Striker Eureka go to the breach to destroy it, and by dropping the bomb, they get attacked by 2 level 4s and a level 5 kaiju, and they get absolutely minced. But when Gypsy goes through the breach, it's even more minced up because of the attack by the level 5, which got hit full blast by a nuke. And it's still kind of like, oh yeah, I'm okay. I mean, you can see it's bleeding all over the place, but it's still like, I'm going to whoop you. And then when it gets to where it is, like, it's got an arm missing, it can't walk, its leg is knackered, the other pilot's ejected, and then it self-destructs, and that made it, it finished it. It was fine, and it made sense. But in this one, it's a case of, we're going to weld a rocket to your hand. This is Gypsy Avenger, by the way. We're going to weld a rocket to your hand, fly you up into orbit, and then drop you on top of the kaiju. That's it. And it's kind of like, well, you throw Jaegers at them all the time, and they just hit it and just break. But that's about it. This one hits, and bearing in mind it's 3 kaiju in 1. Okay, so it should be incredibly friggin' difficult to hit and destroy. This comes, Gypsy Avenger, Superman's onto it, blows up, and that's it. And it's kind of like, well, if it was going to be that easy, we would have just done that in the first place. Just set all 4 bombs off, and then that was it. It's just, ugh. I'm going to go and wash my mouth out with some mouthwash now, because I feel sick of talking about that one. So, my next film is going to be... actually, it's not going to be a film. It's going to be my thoughts on something. This is something I hold dear to me. So, back in a bit.